Now we will try to solve the problem of a circular disc subjected to two line loads along one of its diameters. I have given the stress field for this problem in my lecture on photoelasticity. Now we will derive these stress fields using the principle of superposition. Let me define the problem first for you. So we have a circular disc of uniform thickness as shown here. Along one of its diameters, there are two line loads acting as shown here, P per unit thickness. The origin of the Cartesian coordinate reference is at the center of the disk, and I am also showing here the r theta reference. The boundary conditions for this problem are as follows. For r is equal to d by 2, that means along the circumference, sigma rr and sigma r theta are 0 except at the load application points. Now we will start with the Flaman's solution and use the principle of superposition to construct the solution for this problem. The rationale behind this is as follows. Close to this point load, you can expect that the stress field will have a character what we saw in the Flaman's problem. The same is true for the region close to the second load here. So we will start with a Flaman problem as shown here. Please note that there is a xy coordinate reference with respect to the disk, r theta coordinate reference corresponding to that. There is a r1 theta 1 coordinate reference for the first Flaman problem. So for this Flaman problem with infinite half space, we have sigma rr1 as minus 2p by pi r1 cos theta 1. It is cos theta 1 here because the angle is measured from the y-axis and not from the x-axis. To this, we will add a second Flaman problem as shown here with the axis reference as shown. The coordinate reference for this is r2 and theta 2. And the stress field for this problem is sigma rr2 is equal to minus 2p by pi r2 times cosine theta 2. What we will do is to imagine a circular domain as shown here. One point on the circle coinciding with the point of application of the load. Any point inside the circle, you have one stress field from this Flaman's problem and another stress field from this Flaman's problem. So if you add the two, you will get the total stress field inside the disk. But there is a catch. These problems 1 and 2 are for infinite half space. So when you have the disk, additionally you will have to also ensure that the boundary condition on the disk surface is also satisfied. So let us look at this in more detail. I have just isolated the circular portion here with one load here and second load at this point, and r1 theta 1 coordinates are shown here, r2 theta 2 coordinates are shown here. So a given point here, you can express it either in terms of r1 theta 1 or r2 theta 2 or x and y. For any given x and y, r1 theta 1 and r2 theta 2 can be obtained and vice versa. From the first Flaman problem, you have the Cartesian components of stress as given here. Again, please note the angle is measured from the y-axis. So correspondingly, there will be some change in the form of these equations. From the second Flaman problem, you will have the Cartesian component of stresses as shown here. And at this point, you will have both these stresses present. Now let us look at what happens on the boundary. All you have to do is to move that point onto the boundary of the circle here. Now from the first Flaman solution, you have sigma rr1 acting like this, given by minus 2p by pi d. From the second Flaman solution, you have sigma rr2 acting in this direction as shown here, and with the radial direction of the disk, the angles will become theta 2 and theta 1 as shown here, with theta 1 plus theta 2 as 90 degrees. So all you have to do is find out the component of these stresses along the radial and tangential directions at the boundary. If you do that, you will get sigma RR as minus 2p by pi d and sigma r theta as 0. Please keep in mind that theta 1 plus theta 2 is equal to 90. The resultant traction will be normal to the surface. There won't be any r theta component. To nullify this, what we have to do is apply an equal but opposite traction P, which is equal to 2p by pi d, acting all over the circumference. And the solution for this problem you already know from the very first lecture on boundary value problems. So adding all the three stresses from the two Flaman problems and the disk subjected to external pressure as shown here, we can construct the stress field for a circular disk subjected to two line loads along one of its diameters. And you will get the following stress field which I had given you earlier. Only one information: in the earlier equations which I gave, you had a H here because P was the total load. Now P is the load per unit thickness. So that is the difference. Now I will request you to check whether this stress field satisfies the boundary conditions on the circumference of the disk. It's very simple. On the circumference of the disk, you can replace y with r sin theta and x with r cos theta, and then you will see that all three stress components, sigma xx, sigma yy and sigma xy, vanish on the circumference. And if you remember, when I showed you the isochromatics for a circular disk subjected to diametrical compression, I mentioned that the 0th order fringe will appear along the circumference or the boundary because the stresses are 0 on the boundary.